here we are. Welcome to Parker's Reefs. Got a product review for you this week from a company called Top Lids, based in America. Basically came across their Facebook page. A friend of mine got a lid for his aquarium and it looked incredible. So I started looking through their Facebook page and saw even more incredible aquarium lids and just how they go about making them. And they use that really fine, clear mesh that doesn't hinder light. You can see some there with moonlights built into them, which is a pretty cool feat. I guess the most important thing of all is these things, they look the part. If you've got a rimless aquarium, or even if it's not rimless, but you've got fish that like to jump, you want to put a lid on it, you don't want something that looks ugly or ruins the aesthetics of your tank. As far as I can tell, these guys are making lids that suit that the most. They're a strong, sturdy lid, don't hinder light. They've got these cool little feeding doors you can get in them, and most, or probably I said most importantly before, but probably even more importantly than that, is that they're custom made. So if you've got particular requirements, these guys will cater to them for light brackets or cords or venting or whatever you need to do. They custom make them for you. So I guess I started looking at my tanks to see which ones would benefit the most from such a lid, and I came up with two tanks. Essentially my frag tank and my new Predator tank. You can see my frag tank here had a homemade lid on it. It stopped my 6-line wrasse in there that I have in that tank from jumping, but it's pretty ugly, and I don't know. It's in the fish room. Not a lot of people see it other than myself, but I want to treat myself and get a nice lid for it. And the other tank that I wanted to get a nice lid for was my Innovative Marine Nuvo, which, as you can see there, comes with a lid. That thing's ugly as. The mesh on it is so thick. You get a little sneak preview of what the new lid looks like there, but the mesh is super thick. I'm surprised light penetrates at all. The frame is thick and bulky and heavy. Anyway, basically this is what's required to get the lids. You got to take some pictures of your tank, sort of draw out the outline of what you want the lids to look like. Get in touch on their Facebook page, send them a message, send them those requirements. You can see here I went through quite a long back and forth discussion with Top Lids. In fairness, they're a fairly new company, or they were when I started dealing with them, and were rapidly expanding and getting a lot of orders, and faced a couple of setbacks and delays along the way, but the team were always very well in touch with me, kept me up to date with where we were at. So essentially, I'll go through the process at the end of what I think would be the best way to get through this communication and get your lid on the way as quick as possible. Hey, just doing a quick video here. I've come home from work. As you can tell, I'm still in my work gear, and I've got a huge parcel here from Top Lids USA, so I thought I'd grab a knife, and while my wife and daughter are making juice in the kitchen, I'll take the opportunity to open up the box and see what we got. Obviously want to be pretty careful not to slash into the fine acrylic work that the guys in America have done, so I have to contain my enthusiasm a little bit, just open these a little bit slowly, just to make sure I don't damage them at all. Hopefully they're transported okay, because they've come a long way. Alright, I got two lids in here. Let's pull out the small one first. Rock and roll. That's for my Innovative Marine Nuvo. You can see I've got custom engraving on it, Parker's Reefs. Pretty sweet. It's got little cutouts for my my light brackets on the side of that tank. It's a lot more solid than I expected. These, I was worried about them getting damaged in shipping, but like, this thing is solid. That's awesome. All right, let's get out the big one, because that's the one I'm most scared about. If I can get it out, it's a beast. So excited, but so scared that I'm going to damage it. Packaging looks to be fairly minimal, but obviously adequate. And there's my big Parker's Reef. Got a feeding door on the side here. It's been taped down, of course, so it doesn't come out during transit. I'm going to take the plastic covering off these and sit them on the tanks and see what they look like. Cool. Alright, so let's have a look and wrap up these the review on these lids. Here's the Innovative Marine Nuvo. As As you can see, it's a sensational fit, customized with Parker's Reefs written on it, which is just so sweet. And those light brackets just fit in around there, so cool. The mesh is really thin, really clear, really light. The feeding bracket just lifts off, fits back in so snugly. Really nice touch. I haven't touched these at all. It's been 3 days since I installed them, and you can see the little bit of moisture on there because I didn't go for the fusion vent lid, but it really doesn't bother me. I quite like it. It looks good. And over here near my daughter in her pajamas is the frag tank setup. You can see Parker's Reefs engraved on there in the Lexan. Sorry about the flicker from the halide. The phone camera doesn't like it so much. You can see on this lid I left a little cutout, a little bracket at the back there, so I've got room for my water change in and out, and the leads and fans. I did go for a feeding door here, even though it's a frag tank. I do occasionally put some food in there because I do have a fish in there, hence the net. My cat is obviously not too impressed with them, but he probably wanted the fish to jump out, I guess. And yeah, you can see here they just they do a little see if I can pan down a little bit there. They do a little cutout on the inside there just to make sure it clears any silicone you have in the edges, which is a really nice touch. But they just fit really neatly. Like, see if I, oops, panning the wrong way, sorry. I'll pan back up. You can see there, like, it just fits the contours of the glass perfectly. There's no overhang. It just looks like an extension of the tank itself. Just really nice, and like, it fits like a glove. Measure twice, cut once, I guess they say, and you can't go wrong. Alright, just to wrap up the review of these top lids, I've got a few pros, a few cons, and my overall feeling on how the transaction went. Let's start with the cons, because it's always nice to finish with the pros. Living in Australia and having these lids manufactured in America is not a cheap exercise. These are big lids, and they are handmade by some quality experts, so I'm not going to lie and say they're cheap. They come at a premium price, but they are a premium product, so it's only fair to expect that. But that being said, yeah, they're not the cheapest thing on the market, and you can absolutely DIY something a lot cheaper. You're just not going to get the result. So I guess, possibly being unfair, but we'll say the price is one con. I know everyone's going to ask me how much these cost and how much it would cost for their tank. The best thing you can do is to message the guys at Top Lids. They gave me a quote like within an hour. I'm not going to guarantee they do that for everyone, but for the quality of the product, they're really not a bad price, but definitely something to keep in mind. The other con, the only other con I've really got was the time frame it took to get these. From the point of ordering to receiving them, it was 13 weeks. Now, in fairness to that, there was a little bit of confusion with what measurements we needed to provide, and they had some trouble with machines, and their orders drastically exploded thanks to their popularity taking off. So I'd probably say that it's unlikely to see these take 13 weeks in future, and if we give them the measurements that they need, we have a little bit of trouble with that. But if basically if you take a top-down picture of your tank, draw an outline of where you want the lid to cover and any little inclusions for light brackets or cords or leads or anything like that, give them the outer dimensions and the inner dimensions, give them an overview of what sort of leeway we need to leave for silicone on the glass edging, give them a location of where you want the feeding door, and that will really streamline the process. We probably spent maybe about 6 weeks going back and forth on measuring glass thickness and giving measurements that were outside and inside and then outside again. I think if you can give them as much information as you can from the get-go, it'll definitely streamline that process. Alright, onto the pros of these lids, which is what I really want to talk about because there's a lot more pros than cons. Starting off with my first one, these are absolutely custom made. They're not made to suit a Red Sea Reefer or an Innovative Marine Nuvo or a Cade. They're made to suit your aquarium. Even if it is a Red Sea Reefer or a Cade or something that should be the same because they're all manufactured hopefully the same, there are little distinct differences in glass thickness, overflows, where you have light brackets, where you want cords coming in or out of your tank. These guys hand make each lid to your tank. It just cannot fit better than that. And as a result, they fit perfectly. Like, this looks like it was made to come with the tank, other than the fact that it has my name engraved on it, which is another example of it being custom made. If I didn't want the feeding lid to be at the front here, I wanted it on the side or the back, I could do that. If I didn't want a feeding lid at all, I could do that. It's an incredible pro, and it's just something that's hard to beat. On to the next pro. The solidness of these lids is second to none that I've seen. I've seen a fair bit of acrylic work. These are made out of Lexan, and I'm so impressed with how strong they are. I was a little bit worried about the shipping coming all the way from America, a couple of large, highly cut down pieces of Lexan. I was worried that they'd arrive and they'd be cracked and I'd have to try and glue it together. And then when I saw the packaging, I was even more worried because it looked pretty light on. I was expecting it to be all bubble wrapped and stuff. They weren't. They didn't need it. These things are, Lexan's bulletproof, and there's a reason for that. These things are bulletproof. They're super strong. The mesh is installed really nice and taut. It's that beautiful clear mesh. It's just a really nice lid. Other than that, there's probably not much more I can say. Yeah, they cost a pretty penny. They take a long time to come. They are custom built to your aquarium. They're an incredible quality finish. It pretty well sums up Top Lids. Probably the only other pro I'd mention is the staff at Top Lids. They're hobbyists as well. These guys understand your needs. You're not ordering from a plastics company or a Lexan or acrylic company. You're ordering from a hobbyist. They understand what we want in this hobby, which makes an incredible difference. Plus, I always like to try and support hobbyists because the money these guys are making, they'll probably put into their tanks or improving their products, and I'd rather go to that than some CEO's, shareholder report, which some other companies might have. So yeah, by all means, jump on the Top Lids aquarium lids page, have a look at their work, and shoot them a message, and I'm sure you won't be disappointed. Thanks.